I want to start with a hard truth that nobody in the ESG sector really likes to talk about. We go to these massive global summits, we talk about multi-billion-dollar project finance, and we use all the right buzzwords: sustainability, compliance, social license, net zero, you name it. But if you step into an actual project office of a developer or a consultant, it is often complete chaos behind the scenes. I've been there. I've sat in those rooms. I own one of those rooms. And what I see over and over again is what I call the spreadsheet trap. We have these brilliant engineers and environmental social consultants who spend 40% of a week just digging for information for various reports or lender questions or board updates or whatever. They're digging through local drives, searching through a former colleague's folder, trying to piece together spreadsheets with information being different in every spreadsheet and collect the information from different versions of the Excel file. This is not just a headache, it's a massive institutional risk. When a lender like the IFC or EBRD sends an auditor or a consultant to do a due diligence on your site and they ask for a simple timeline of a grievance, your team should not spend 3 days compiling it. You would have already lost their confidence. By doing that, you're telling the world you're compliant, but your data is telling the world you are not in control. I wanted to fix that. Not with another software or AI, although I do believe in that, but with a better architecture. Let's talk about resettlement, for example. This is my home ground after all. This is where I've spent the bulk of my career, and frankly, it's where I saw the most broken systems. In a resettlement action plan, you're dealing with people's lives. You're dealing with their homes, their land, their history, their livelihood, their family's future. And yet, the industry standard is to manage that incredibly sensitive and complex data in databases that are, well, fragile and not connected. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a project affected person database just die or not get updated or be called final draft, final version 2, final draft. It gets too big. It gets relational, it gets unmanaged, and it crashes, and we lose the information. But the real tragedy isn't the file crashing, of course, it's the lack of this holistic view. In the old systems, you would have the census in one file, the crop valuation in another, compensation records in a third, engagement records under stakeholder engagement plan. You couldn't see this human journey and the whole household with the individuals in it and all of their assets mapped. Those spreadsheets were excruciatingly painful and not helping anybody. So I built a resettlement hub because I wanted to see this connection and show these connections. I wanted a system where if you click on a household, you will be able to see the type of displacement, their status of negotiations, how many members are there, what will be the payment for them, their vulnerability status. And I equally wanted to be able to go to an asset registry where I see the assets listed one by one, where I know what that is, when I know when the compensation is expected, when I know which household they belong to, where I see the economic importance as a percentage of the total household income derived from this asset, which is something we have not done before. I wanted to see, is it a full loss? Is it temporary restriction? Is it a partial loss? What is it? And I wanted to be able to add my notes. I wanted to open these files, these household files, asset files, individual files, and I wanted to add my pictures. I wanted to see it holistically. So, when you have this kind of transparency, you move from just like counting people to actually managing resettlement with the dignity and precision that it requires. It turns a risky, high stress process into an auditable, transparent success story. Now, if we move on from resettlement and pivot into the second big component on double materiality and climate risk, I recently was on a call with a central bank and the conversation was fascinating. They were looking at the new EFRAG CSRD requirements and they were kind of stuck. They said that they have the risk register, they have climate risk assessment, but they feel like two different worlds. How do we make them talk to each other? And you know what? They're right. Under modern standards, we can't have climate as a sidecar. It's the engine. So I took that challenge and built this double materiality and climate risk engine. I wanted to take that terrifying double materiality assessment and break it down into chunks that are more digestible. So there's the standards registry with the standards mapped, and then the most important, the IRO register, which most companies probably have as a spreadsheet, insufferable again. But there's full transparency in the double materiality assessment scoring engine and how the scoring is actually derived. I wanted a system where you score a physical hazard like a flood risk and it automatically ripples through to your financial materiality. We followed the effort logic to the letter, but we made it a bit more visual. This template exists because a regulator asked for a better way to see the math behind the materiality. It's about taking those 200-page reporting standards and turning them into a dashboard that actually makes sense on a Tuesday morning, for example. That's why we also included the climate hazard and transition registry with the risk assessment engine and the dashboard. So when people ask me if I'm turning away from AI, most of my tools are AI based. Why am I bothering with Notion? My answer is very simple. I believe in meeting clients and the industry where it actually is. I am fully committed to AI. I believe it is the way forward to solve problems at a scale. But I also know that for many of my clients, the full AI rollout is terrifying and there might be institutional constraints. There are governance hurdles, institutional fears, or they just don't have the data structure to feed an AI yet. I call this Notion ecosystem a very pragmatic bridge. It gives you the power of like a $50,000 custom software with the dashboard, the real-time statistics, the audit trails, but it does it in a way that your community liaison officer in the field can actually use it. You don't need a tech team to maintain this. You don't need a massive annual subscription. You just need a better way to manage your project documentation so you are not wasting hours every week or month on reports that are outdated the second you hit save. We're building a foundation. And once your data is structured there, then you're ready for the AI future. Ultimately, ESG Core is about one thing: architecture over archives. I'm tired of seeing good projects fail because of bad records. I want to give you the infrastructure I wish I had when I started. I've put a ton of resources below this video, links to where you can learn the platform, the methodology, and how to take ownership of your data. Whether you're a developer trying to satisfy a lender or a consultant trying to do better for your clients, I'm here to be your technology partner. Let's stop digging through folders and start leading with data. Thanks for watching.